Texting and driving is one of the leading causes of motorist deaths in this day and age. In the 2008 Chatsworth train collision, driving while texting was the cause of death of 25 passengers and injured 135 others, with 46 being critically injured when a Union Pacific train and a Metrolink train collided head-on because the engineer was not able to react to a red light signal or reading a text message. And unfortunately, texting and driving is the cause of many more thousands of deaths and injuries as well every year. My name is Benjamin Getford, and I'm here to talk to you about the dangers of texting and driving and talk about some statistics. Today, I'm going to persuade you to stop texting and driving if you have started, and if you haven't, then you better not start. Texting and driving cause car wrecks all over the U.S. every single day and is an epidemic that needs to be ended. Why do we need to outlaw texting and driving? Since the early 2000s, the number of text messages sent in the United States has grown in leaps and bounds. According to grabstats.com, within just a few short years, the number of text messages sent per month has increased astoundingly, from 9.8 billion text messages per the month of December of 2005 to an astounding number of 385 billion per month in 2016. Due to newer technological advances pretty much every day now, people are exposed to the text messaging world. According to textinganddriving.com, 34% of drivers admit that they text behind the wheel, and 13% of drivers ages between 18 and 20 admit the same. The act of driving while texting has recently increased the number of accidents, such as the 2008 train collision that I had mentioned earlier, when 25 people were killed because of the driver being distracted while operating a train. Texting, although seems harmless and such a simple task, may be one of the most death-involving actions you can do while driving, even more than drinking and driving. The leading factor of car crashes every year is driving distracted. So what do you think driving while texting is? It's distracted driving. According to distraction.gov, 3,179 people were killed and 431,000 were injured in motor vehicle crashes in 2014. Now think about it. Looking away from the roadway for 2 seconds or more doesn't seem like much, but anything can happen at that time. Texting is one of the longest eyes-off-the-road distractions there is. According to IBTimes.com, they found that a driver, if he's not looking at the road, for an average of 4.6 seconds during the text message. So according to IBTimes.com, if a car is driving 55 miles per hour, you could drive the length of a football field without seeing the road. So anything could happen during that time. A deer could run out, maybe someone pull out in front of you, or maybe somebody hits their brakes and you don't see it, and now you end up another statistic from texting and driving. So, now you can imagine somebody driving a truck or any other kind of heavy equipment, such as that train that I mentioned. Do you think that they are going to be able to stop on a dime? No, they're not going to be able to. So instead of stopping, they're going to run through one car or maybe multiple cars and kill multiple people. So, as you can see, something needs to be done about the epidemic that we have as a nation to this deadly thing known as texting and driving. Some solutions have been put into place, such as currently 46 states and the District of Columbia have banned or are in the process of banning driving while texting. Texting laws come in two ways: primary offense and secondary offense. Texting as a primary offense means that a police officer can pull a driver over solely for texting. This law is a lot simpler to enforce because a police officer, or anyone really, can see a person is driving and staring at their phone for 5 seconds and swerving all over the place, or even if they are not engaging in erratic driving at the time, you can tell when they're staring down at their phone when you look over. Secondary offense means that a driver can only be fined for texting if they are caught committing another crime. This type is hard to enforce and is not very effective at all, but it's somewhat preventative because it's still a law, just not as strict of a law. According to Mashable.com, Washington was the first state to ban texting while driving and implemented a $100 fine in California. In California, though, you are looking at only $162 for your first offense and $285 for a second offense. But both of these states are too lenient compared to states like Utah and Oregon, which had their fines at $750 and $500 for their first offense, with also a possibility of 3 months in jail. But if you cause a death, you may be looking at upwards of $10,000 in fines and up to 15 years in prison, which I fully agree upon. While some states had difficulty enforcing text message laws, some states have found a way to successfully enforce these laws. People say that it is difficult to spot a driver texting on their phone if it's below the steering wheel, but my buddy, who is a state police officer, said that they are trained to spot drivers and see if their head is tilted down and their eyes are not focused on the road. They are more than likely engaging in text messages. Now, with all these stats, we know that education is key because some people are not going to go online and look up texting and driving stats. But the more drivers that are aware of the laws are less likely to text while driving. Of all the laws they issued, Institute in California provides some of the best success. Laws banning driving while texting went into effect January 1st, 2009, and according to handsfreeinfo.com, only 21,000 tickets were issued in California for texting and driving, but in 2013, they issued 425,041 tickets with their new legislation. States, though where texting is only a secondary offense, many people believe is an ineffective law because even if a police officer sees somebody texting and driving, they cannot stop them anyways because they have not committed any other crime while texting and driving. Since I have personally been affected by texting and driving, as I'm sure many of you have as well, I believe texting while driving should be banned in all 50 states, and if caught, you should lose your driving privileges for at least 1 year. Now the plan is to have all 50 states ban texting and driving, and there are a number of groups trying to make that happen. So far we have 46 states that have banned and only 4 left that haven't. If you're going to ban drinking and driving, then in my opinion, you need to ban texting and driving. To me it's the same thing. You're distracted, not focusing on the road, and from my experience, people are driving all over the road, just like if you're a drunk driver. Now, the fines and jail time might sound harsh to some, but doesn't sound too harsh, I'm sure, to the thousands of families and people who have been killed by people driving while texting. At least you are still alive. You might not be able to drive, but hey, you can still see your family every day. Now visualize this. Can you imagine getting that call from a police officer saying that your family member has been killed in an accident, and then find out that some kid or adult, for that matter, was texting and driving, and they were not even talking about anything important, probably just a, hey, how are you message, or what do you want for dinner? Then all of a sudden, they end up taking somebody's life, and now yours and their lives are changed forever. Or maybe you're driving through a school zone, and are not paying attention, and some child goes out to walk across the street, and you do not see them because you're looking down at your phone, looking down at your lap at your phone, and you look up and you see a kid in front of you, and you cannot stop. Now you have to live with the possibility of killing a child or multiple children. I personally cannot imagine that happening and would never put myself in that position to possibly change somebody else's life forever for some meaningless text messages that you could have pulled over and waited until you got home. Now, you need to take some action of this senseless act. You need to contact your local law enforcement to find out how you can call on a person texting and driving, or if you're even able to do that. Maybe your state allows texting and driving. Slim chance it does, since there's only 4 that allow it. Or you can start by getting signatures on a petition and sending those to your congressman. If you live in states that texting and driving has not been banned yet, and try to make awareness of texting and driving and make your voice heard. Or one of the most simple solutions would be, if you are a driver who texts, then you need to stop what you're doing, because I'm sure, like I said earlier, you do not want to become a statistic or have somebody end up a statistic because of your selfishness. In conclusion, today I talked about dangers of texting and driving, and gave you some statistics on the dangers of driving while texting, and gave you the age groups in which mostly abuse these laws. Hopefully I have spread some light on the dangers of distracted driving, and you can spread the word about how bad of an idea it is to get behind the wheel of a car and text and drive. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment box, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.